There's a secret shift happening in the housing market here in Calgary, and it could dramatically impact your next move. The secret? Well, the market's finally moving towards balance. After years of craziness, things are starting to normalize a bit. Now, is this good news or bad news? Well, for some, it's great news. And for everyone else, it's crucial information. We're breaking down the March numbers and revealing exactly what this shift means for you. Now, sales are down from last year, about 19% overall. Inventory was actually up. What about prices? Well, they're not quite skyrocketing like they were. In fact, things are starting to balance out. Now, before you panic or celebrate, let's break down what this really means. We've got some ongoing economic uncertainty. You know, all those tariff talks, Liberation Day, that kind of thing. And it's definitely weighing on people's minds. That uncertainty has absolutely impacted consumer confidence, and we're seeing it play out in the housing market. But here's the important thing to remember. Even though sales are down compared to last year, they're actually still stronger than what we saw for the years between 2015 and 2020. Remember those tougher economic times? We're still doing better than that. Now, let's hear what the experts are saying. Anne-Marie Lurie, chief economist over at CREB, put it perfectly when she said,
"It is not a surprise to see a pullback in sales given the uncertainty," said Anne-Marie Lurie, chief economist at CREB. However, it is important to note that sales still remain stronger than anything reported throughout 2015 to 2020, where our economy faced significant economic challenges and job loss. Nonetheless, easing demand has been met with gains in new listings and rising inventories, helping our market shift back toward balanced conditions, following 4 consecutive years where the market favored the seller.
So let's get into specifics. Sales in March totaled 2,159 units. Now that's down 19% year over year, and like we said, it's across all property types, especially the higher density homes. Now, what's really driving this shift? Well, it's new listings. In March, we saw over 4,000 new homes hit the market, and that's a lot of choices for buyers. The surge in listings is pushing up inventory, and we're now at over 5,100 homes available for sale. We also look at something called the sales to new listing ratio, and it's dropped to 54%. Basically, for every 100 new homes listed, only 54 are selling, and that's the sign of a cooling market. And finally, one of the other metrics we use is something called months of supply. And this tells us how long it would take to sell all the current homes on the market if no new listings came up. And right now, we're at about 2.4 months of supply. Last year, it was about half that. Bottom line, more choices for buyers, less pressure, and a move towards a more balanced market. Now, balanced markets, some realtors will slightly disagree on this, but most agree that it starts somewhere between 2.5 and 3 months of inventory. And then once you get about to that 5 months of inventory, that's when you start entering buyer's market. You start to see big discounts on properties, buyers negotiating sizable discounts, all of that kind of fun stuff. Now, the market isn't uniform, so let's look at the different property types. In detached homes, sales are down 10%. Inventory is improving, which is a much needed break for many buyers out there. And months of supply is just over 2 months, but still very tight under the 700,000 price point. Now, prices are still up year over year, especially in the city center, but growth is slowing. Now, we do want to stress that under 700, you're still likely going to be in for a fight. If the property is good and it's worth buying, there's going to be a lineup of people, even with things cooling down a bit. So be prepared. You're going to be in the fight in that 500 to 700 range for a detached home. Now, semi-detached homes, that's your duplexes and units, sales are down, but new listings are up. Months of supply is at about 2.2 months, the highest since the end of 2022. Now, price growth is slowing, but still up 5% year over year. City Center, West Districts, not surprisingly, they're seeing the biggest gains for the semi-detached. Moving on to row homes, huge surge in new listings. Inventory is way up. Market is much more balanced, especially above the $500,000 price point. Now, prices are still up 2% year over year, but below their peak pricing. It has cooled down a bit, which is going to be welcome news to many buyers. Moving on to apartment condos, biggest sales decline period year over year, but still above long-term averages. Significant new listings have pushed inventory way up, and months of supply is just over 3 months now, firmly into balanced territory. Price growth has slowed, and prices are similar to last month, so they're fairly flat right now in the apartment sector, but still up nearly 3% year over year. Prices, of course, are below peak across all districts. Okay, so let's talk more about those prices. After those big jumps we saw in the last 4 years, things are definitely cooling off. The benchmark price for residential homes is around $592,500 right now, pretty stable compared to last month and last year. Detached and semi-detached prices are still holding strong, even a bit above peak in some cases. And apartments and row homes are seeing prices slightly below last year's peak, but overall price growth is definitely slowing down. So what does this mean for you? Well, whether you're buying or selling, right, this is going to impact things. So for buyers, good news, you have more choices, more time to decide. Again, that does not apply if you're in that $600,000 detached range. You still don't have much time, you gotta move quick. But it also gives you potentially more negotiating power. I mean, it's not a screaming deal market kind of thing, but you're not facing the same crazy competition as last year, which is going to be a very welcome change to most buyers. Now for sellers, you need to be realistic about pricing. The days of automatic bidding wars might be slowing down. Now presentation is key, don't forget the basics, and make sure your home is in top shape and priced competitively to make sure you're taking advantage of the situation, getting maximum sale price, because nobody wants to leave money on the table when you're selling a home. Now remember, quick disclaimer, this is a general overview. The market is local and it varies neighborhood by neighborhood, by price point, and even in some cases street to street. Now, what's happening with condos downtown might be different than detached homes in the suburbs. Heck, it might be different than condos out in the suburbs. And that's why it's always best to talk to a local real estate expert who knows your specific area inside and out. So there you have it, the March housing market update, a market in shift, moving towards balance. If you found this helpful, please like this video and subscribe for more market updates, making sure you're always ahead of the competition. And leave a comment below with any questions you want to see answered in our next video. And if you're thinking about buying or selling, reach out to a real estate professional today. Like our team, the Michael Smith team, we're highly rated for a reason. Thanks so much for watching.